Welcome back, folks, to Streamcatchers. Almost forgot our name. I must have welcome back to Jack. I was like,
Hello there.
Oh, let's start this one off hot. All
Hey,
right,
what's
folks.
going on,
How's everybody
everybody?
doing? All right.
Good to see you.
You too, buddy. You too. We're back with Bad Batch Episode 6, Decommissioned.
Yeah,
Getting deeper and deeper into the series. What'd you think, Jack? How'd you like it?
it was a pretty good episode. I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of fun with this one. We were just talking about it before we started recording. This one I did watch twice. The last one I just did the one watch with the frantic notes, but I decided to give this one another watch because I thought there was a lot of cool scenes, a lot of joy in this episode. Really liked this one a lot. How about you?
Yeah, I liked it too. I think another example of liking, not loving it. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
any issues with it. It was a lot of fun to watch. I think they are definitely starting to develop the characters a little bit more, adding characters in as well. So it's pretty good. It's an enjoyable show, and this episode itself was pretty solid. So you want to give us a quick recap of what the episode was about?
Sure. So we start the episode, and we're back at is it Ord Mantell? Is that the name of the planet? But
Yes.
they're at Sid's.
Yep.
Sid has a new mission for him. We see a little bow training with the light bow. I don't know what its actual name is, but
Yeah.
we get to see Echo demonstrating his teaching prowess. He's kind of
Yeah.
training Omega to shoot this bow. And so anyway, but this week's mission is a mission to Corellia, which I'm not sure if we've seen Corellia on screen before. Is this the first appearance?
No, it was in Clone Wars.
It
The
was okay.
Yeah. We'll get to the characters in a second, but there was a run-in with Ahsoka was on Corellia after she had left the Jedi Order.
Oh, okay. Are you talking about? Well, we'll talk about it later. Okay, so anyway, our mission this week is to recover a droid. I can't remember the specific name
It's
of
a
the droid. Like
tactical droid, so it's
tactical
basically they
droid.
just have to get the droid to bring it back to Sid. They don't really know why they need the droid. They just know they need to get it for Sid. She'll pay them credits, and they kind of reluctantly accept it. You know, they're still not really sure if they want to be mercenaries, bounty hunters, but they take the mission just because they know they're going to get paid pretty well for it. They pop up on this planet. They run into a couple of other characters we have seen in the past that are also trying to get the tactical droid. Long story short, they get what they need to get. And again, we introduce some new characters. So again, simple plot, simple, straightforward plot. Nothing too complicated, but there's a lot that kind of happens in the mix of this. So I kind of wanted to start with Echo teaching, not Ahsoka, teaching Omega how to use that little laser bow and arrow thing. We got to come up with a
Okay.
name for that thing, right?
Yeah.
I like that. That was a cool spot because we've talked about it. Echo hasn't really done a whole lot. We haven't really seen a lot of interaction with him and Omega outside of maybe they're tagging along on the same sort of mission. So it was cool to see him take on a small mentor role with her and show that he's not annoyed by her presence or indifferent about having her there. He actually is taking to her a bit.
Yeah, I feel like this show has opted to use Hunter as the paternal character for Omega, and it's kind of nice to see another character step up and teach Omega some training. You know, some light bow casting. I don't know what to call it either.
Laser bow.
Laser bow. Yeah, I bet they will name it.
I hope so. I hope they give it like a real name, like the Destroyer. I don't know.
like a proper name for just that one. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
yeah. Like they name ships. They haven't named the batches,
Yeah,
but
that's true.
they
That's
name
true.
ships. They should name her little gimmick thing.
Well, I hope Omega gives it a name. If it does end up with one, I hope that she gets to name it, and the ship too. I think that Omega should name the ship.
She should name the ship
Yeah.
the Omega Carrier. I don't know. These are bad. It's really awful. But yeah, so we are introduced to not two new characters, but new to the series, Trace and Rafa Martez.
Hmm.
We first met I believe Corellia. I think that's where Ahsoka
Okay.
was in Clone Wars. We
I
met.
thought that was I thought that was on Coruscant.
Maybe it was. Actually, you're probably right.
I
I'm
thought
not
that was
sure.
like I thought they were trying to showcase like a more scummy, lesser
That's
side of
right.
Coruscant, because the whole planet's a city, and we've seen the towers where the Jedi land their ships and they have their meetings and everything, but we haven't seen the lower class part of Coruscant. And I thought that that's what it was, but I could
That's
be
right.
mistaken too.
You're right. No, you're right. I'm wrong. That's exactly what it was. It's been a while
Okay.
since we've seen that, so my bad. But they had a run in with Ahsoka, and they had a whole team up sort of story arc early on in season 7 of Clone Wars. And so this is them popping up. They need to get the same thing that the Batch needs to get. And we see a bit of conflict, and then of course they start working together. Um,
Yeah, I
cool
gotta
scenes.
imagine if droids start shooting at you, you kind of ally with whoever's not shooting at you.
Right, yeah, and we see a point where Omega's in trouble, and I can't remember which one, if it was Trace or Rafa,
It was Trace.
jumps up to help, and Hunter is interacting with Rafa, and then they of course have to work together, and there's the bit of why do I have to listen to you? And he's like, we'll figure this out later. We got to get out of the mess. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, but it was cool
yeah.
to
There
see
were a
these characters.
couple parts. Oh, go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
no, no, that was all. It was cool to see these characters.
Yeah, I like the line "Who put you in charge," which is it's kind of something that we've taken for granted, because we know the Bad Batch, we know the kind of command structure. We know that Hunter's in charge of
Yeah.
everybody, and they know. But at this point, I guess she's kind of right. Who did put him in charge? He doesn't need to be in charge anymore. They're not like an official team anymore. But at the same time, he has he has his instincts. He has his leadership role already, so he kind of takes charge and leads this mission with a couple extra guests.
Well, somebody's got to lead the team. I mean, yeah, you can't just have everybody going in
Right.
50 different directions, right? Somebody's got to take charge, and if you're already used to it, why would you not?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, for them, they don't answer to him. They have no ties to him. So I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. But for at least for that team, I mean, obviously, yeah, it makes sense. We also
As far
saw.
as roles with this mission, Omega did still get the kind of the wait here and BRI in the sky type role, but she didn't argue. She kind of liked it, and I mean she spotted the droid's head and went after it. I mean, she just like
Yeah.
with our previous missions, she's kind of gotten the wait in the car type role, but then she's stepped up and made an impact on the mission.
Yeah, she's really starting to learn her role and accept it, and we have seen nothing but growth for that character. So it's good that they're at least developing somebody. Um, Everybody else, I feel like, has somewhat stayed the same, and we've moments here and there. But this is a team that was already established, and this is a new character in Omega that they're obviously trying to bring into the Star Wars universe. So
Right.
uh, they're doing a really good job, I think, every week of just adding a little bit more to her character. And like you said, yeah, and she took the initiative, chases after the droid, and even though she gets into a little bit of trouble, they figure out a way to kind of save the day.
Yeah, when she's in that melting pot or melting pit or whatever you want to call it, and Trace saves her. The only thing that I would have done different with that scene is I wish that it would have been Omega's idea to grab the droid leg to reach up to Trace. I think that she should have been able to showcase her intuition, which is kind of her deal, as far as we know. Her defect, her clone defect, but instead they had Trace point out the fact that just grab something, I can grab you if you just reach a little further.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. I think they're still hammering the point home that she's still very young, very inexperienced in the universe. I mean, she's going to these places for the first time. She's never experienced a lava pit of any sort.
Yeah.
And even though she's shown instincts and intuition for other things, that's still sort of developing. So I mean, it would have been a nice character moment for her to sort of be like, oh, all right, grab this, boom, pull me up. But I think it also is a good way to show she's still learning. She's not perfect yet. There's a lot of growth
Yeah.
still to happen.
I think the best scene of her showing growth was when she was using her bow on the droids, or the not the droids. Were they worker droids or workers that were working there. I don't know. They're
They
blasting
were
at her.
they were droids, but they weren't like the battle droids or the
Right.
what do they call the gray looking ones that
Yeah. With the masks. Yeah.
right. I don't know, but yeah, they were droids, but they weren't the droids that we knew in the Clone Wars or the movies.
Right.
I want
Corellia
to.
droids, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, they had a name for them, but I don't. I think it was something to do with the actual area.
Yeah.
I want to talk about how you nailed it with Wrecker last week.
Yeah. I knew that they weren't gonna have his head hurt for no reason. I
Right.
mean, they weren't just gonna have a throwaway line. So he jumps over that pit and hits his head and kind of falls down, gets dazed, and starts muttering, "Good soldiers, good soldiers."
Soldiers
I think
follow
that
orders.
these continued knocks to his dome are triggering his inhibitor chip a little
Yep.
bit.
That is heavily implied. I think that's the story that they're going to go for, and it makes me wonder sort of what's going to happen with the batch further in the show. I mean, because we've already seen with Crosshair, who we have not had another appearance from again, another
I
episode of Crosshair.
know. I
But
know.
we've seen his chip sort of go crazy, and then the Empire, of course, they amplified it so that he is now following their command, and now we're seeing Wrecker hit his head and his chips kicking on and off. I'm wondering if we're going to see the same thing with Tech Echo 100 at all, because and I wonder if it's going to lead to the demise of one or a few of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to think back when for the clones that aren't that don't obey Order 66, have their inhibitor chips been removed or deactivated? I can't remember.
Well, so few of the clones didn't just acquiesce to Order 66, right?
Right.
I mean, even Rex did. They had to go in and I think either remove the chip or fry it somehow.
Yeah, and I'm having a hard time remembering what the process was
physically. I remember he
physically.
was on a table and there were other clones trying to break into the room, and Ahsoka was helping out, and like she got it somehow.
Yeah.
It's the last episode or second to last episode of Clone Wars. But I think that because there was another clone that they actually pulled the chip out of. Was that Echo?
That would have been,
or was it the deserter?
I think it was. Okay, so the deserter took his out on his own. I think he took his out. Yes. I don't think he deactivated. I think Echo's was deactivated when they put the robot headpiece thing on, but I don't know if they took it out. I think they just used it since it's, I mean, you know, I know it's sci-fi, but think of it practically. If there's already something interfacing with his brain, they probably just have to activate or interface with that piece with the back of the head Lobot deal.
Sure. I want to say they took the chip out of Rex, from what I remember. Okay. I could be completely wrong again, but
yeah. Well, it's not really something that they could have on screen in a kid's show, right? A little robot piece covered in blood, and it just wouldn't work. Right. So if we do know if it was deactivated or taken out, they would have said it in the dialogue. They wouldn't have shown it.
Sure.
And I think that's why we're
get a storyline where one or all of the batch, they had their chips sort of malfunction, and Omega has to figure out a way to get them all back. Maybe we might see a fight between Hunter and Omega at one point too. Would be pretty intense.
I do think it's time for an Omega solo mission. I think it's time for Omega to really save the day. I mean, I guess she kind of saves the day every episode, but I would like to see something a little more dramatic, something maybe a two-parter where it ends on a cliffhanger where she's, you know, she's got nothing, no resources, nothing to do. The day is ruined, and now we got to wait a week to see how she saves the day.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, because we've seen, you know, when they were on that moon and she went in after that dragon and she got the part by herself. That was
great
for her. Obviously, when the batch was captured trying to get Muchi, she pops up and she releases Muchi. She's had her moments, but yeah, I think a true solo point where she has no help from the batch at all. It's all on her. That would be a pretty cool moment for her.
Or maybe depending on her ability to make friends, right? Like, what if, you know, if in this episode the batch would have been incapacitated somehow, and then she has to make friends with Rafa and Trace and appeal to their better angels and have them help her save the day. That something like that I think would be really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think we will get to that. I think that there is going to be a point where she is faced with at least one member of the current team that their chip is full force and they're trying to get her or take her back to the Empire. And she's going to have to sort of figure out how to save them or save other people. I don't know what it might be, but
well, I think that you're in the right vein, and I think that they're kind of setting it up already. I think it will be Wrecker, and I think that the way that she gets out of danger is by outsmarting him, right? Because I mean, it's pretty obvious that she's very intuitive, and Wrecker is a brute. He's not an intelligent guy. I think that she will definitely outsmart him.
Sure. So we'll see what happens with that. I think that that's a story that's going to continue to be told throughout the next couple of weeks. I think Wrecker and his chip. I'll be really curious to see if that happens to any of the other three. I need to see more Crosshair. I need to see what's going on with that as well and how that's.
I agree. Yeah, so, I want to know more about what Crosshair's been up to, what kind of evil shenanigans he's been getting up to.
Yeah, or just really the Empire in general. I mean, we haven't seen any of that at all. They've really focused on the team itself and Omega. I think it was episode 3. I think was the last time we saw Crosshair of the Empires. Now we're going on 7. So I think it's time that we get something.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree, and I think that I think his next appearance should be a Bad Batch versus Crosshair appearance. I think that would be really good for the show.
A run-in of some kind, yeah. Even if it's a quick, 5-minute, oh crap, where both stories sort of converge and they meet at the same point, and it's a quick getaway, whatever sort of thing. Either Crosshair is overmatched or they're overmatched, whatever it might be. But yeah, I want to see some conflict there with that.
Yeah. Before we get too far away from the subject of inhibitor chips, I want to pose a question for you that I don't think that there is an answer to, but maybe you know something I don't. Is it possible for the Empire to broadcast new orders to the inhibitor chips, or were the inhibitor chips did the inhibitor chips have Order 66 in them from the start?
That's a good question. I think they had Order 66 from the start. Okay. That was just part of the design of the chip. I don't know for sure. Whether or not could they broadcast new orders? I guess they could just tell them what they want them to do instead of Order 67 or whatever. You know what I mean? Because they're under the control of the Empire. So I don't know if it would necessarily be even relevant to push out Order 74 or whatever it would be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The reason that I ask is because
this planet and do this thing.
Yeah, the reason that I ask is because there were no chips installed after Omega's appearances, so I don't know if they would be able to, I don't know if Omega would be on a brainwashed Wrecker's radar. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, that's a good point. I mean, again, I think the point of the chip is that they're under the control of the Empire.
Yeah.
And so, because you see with Crosshair, he's not actually operating under an order. He's just under the rule of the Empire.
Yeah.
And he's the good soldiers follow orders type thing. So
right.
If Wrecker's inhibitor chip does malfunction to a point where he's sort of in the same boat as Crosshair, and somehow the Empire finds out, they could order him to grab Omega, and he would do it because good soldiers follow orders.
Right.
But I don't think that an order like the Jedi Purge. I mean, I just don't think that's necessary. I don't know. I mean, they probably just needed a thing to say. I don't even know if the point of Order 66 was that you have orders 1 through 100. Maybe they do. I don't know why they wouldn't if they have an Order 66, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of questions with those inhibitor chips that we may never know.
Yeah, we're probably looking way too far into it, to be honest.
Probably.
I think it's as simple as the Empire has control over these clones, and hey, we need you to grab this person and bring him back, or hey, we need you to kill this person. They just do it. I don't think they need.
Okay.
84-40.
Okay. All right. Take that.
I mean, what do you think?
No, I don't know. I guess I was looking at it in a different way. I was looking at it as a set number of programs that they could run, and that Order 66 was one of them. But I think that your option sounds better, whereas Order 66 is almost like a Winter Soldier type verbal command, and then that triggers them. The words execute Order 66, they hear it, and then they just become immediately compliant. And then if you give the order to kill the Jedi, they have to. So if they would have said execute Order 66, bring Omega in, then they would just do that. I don't know.
Right, because that's actually a really good analogy, because like Winter Soldier, those words are so arbitrary, like longing, freight car, 19, like it's so random that I don't, for whatever reason, those words are the words that needed to be said. I mean, I would like to think that there's X number of orders, but maybe they're all arbitrary as well. Maybe Order 14 is everybody to the hangar of the Death Star and clean the toilets. Like,
yeah, who knows?
Order 31, bake me a meatloaf. I don't know what they are. So it's it is weird that they chose to do that, right? Order 66, and then not give us any other orders.
Right.
Because I have always kind of wondered, like, what's Order 65? What's Order?
Yeah. Doesn't it all kind of beg the question, what's the orders 1 through 65?
Yeah, but I guess when you think about like police codes, they have, whatever. I don't know. I don't know any off the top of my head.
We got a 1089 in progress.
Yeah, and it's like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
So it's so I would imagine it's probably the same thing with the Empire, but I would imagine they're more prone to just following whatever order is.
Probably, yeah.
So,
well, I'm running low on notes. I did appreciate the comedy bit about the being an echo in here. I think that a lot of the comedy lines in this show have been kind of, that's kind of clever. This one was funny. This one got me. That was pretty. That was a good, clever thing to put in there.
That one got a pop out of me. That was pretty funny. Yeah, it was, because as soon as she said that, is there an echo in here? I was like, is he gonna pop up? And he did. He's like, yeah, I'm right here. I'm like, what? No, my name is Echo. So, yeah, that was a great moment.
Yeah.
At the end of the episode, we do get a mystery person.
Yes, I have my guesses, but I'm very interested in what you have to say about it.
Right. So Rafa. So the episode basically ends. They get the part that they need, or the information that they need.
Everybody wins, right? Because he copied the data from the droid's head, and so the Bad Batch is going to get paid for bringing the data to Sid, and Trace and Rafa have their intel for the future rebellion.
Right, that was the whole thing. They wanted the part so that they could take the information to their
contact.
Their contact. Let's just call them their contact. So, and of course it's to fight the Empire, and there's a bit of a morality tug there for the Batch, as it's like, we're just here to make money, and they're trying to do good. And so it was a cool moment for Hunter at the end to say, hey, listen, we copied the information you needed. We are good guys too. So they go off and they're on their ship, and they send the information to their contact, and we see sort of the hologram of them, but we don't see who they are. And they say that there are some rogue clones. Just thought you might want to know. I have two guesses on who it could be. A dream guess would be Ahsoka. I think the more practical guess is Rex, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that both might pop up.
Right. I think that they will both be in this show. I think it'd be a shame if they're not showcased in some way.
At least Rex, right? I think he makes the most sense. But then, of course, he and Ahsoka left together, and they have that connection, that friendship. So if he's there, it only makes sense for her to be there as well. But it would be silly if Rex wasn't in this at some point.
I think Rex is definitely the option that I think should be in the show the most, just because he's already been name dropped. He's a clone. He's another clone that did not obey Order 66. I think it'd be a shame if he wasn't in the show. Ahsoka, I think, should be in the show simply because I feel like she's finally stepping into the Star Wars limelight as a whole, because she was, she's fresh out of Clone Wars, and she was featured in Mandalorian, and they've announced her show. I think it's time for her to be in the show as well.
Yeah, they're really doing a great job of not canonizing her, because she's always been canon, but making her more of a household figure in the Star Wars lore. In the way
Exactly.
that Anakin, Luke, Obi-Wan always have, and Yoda. She was always just that character from Clone Wars that never got addressed in the movies. And then,
Yeah.
of course, was popularized in Clone Wars. And then season 7 comes out and makes her even better. And then, like you said, we finally get her in Mando. Shout out Rosario Dawson. And
Hmm.
she's going to have her own show. So and she was also, she was in Rebels as well.
Right.
A fair amount. So I agree. I think having her in this is another step to making her character even more important than it already is. And I think for me personally, with my Jedi content, I gotta have at least one Force user. It's weird if you don't. I think you have to have somebody with a lightsaber. I don't know. I think maybe that's well. I was gonna say maybe that's why you didn't like Rogue One as much, but Vader was in it, and that was one of the most
Just
badass.
barely, though. I mean, I say barely. It was a very badass scene, and it did kind of steal the show. But Star Wars content does feel a little strange when there's not an appearance from a Jedi, when
Yeah.
there's not some mysticism of an ancient religion or a crazy old wizard, or something like that.
Definitely. Like that's what Star Wars, like, especially for us, because we grew up where they took time to actually give us the Jedi in episodes 1, 2, and 3. Whereas, the people that came before us that grew up on the originals, they only had Luke and Obi-Wan and Yoda.
Right.
So, but
Right.
we had them, and we had Anakin and Mace and all these other guys in the background. Plus, when Clone Wars comes out, we have all the ones in there. So I need, for me, it's nice to have a Jedi character. I don't think that if we've had one this whole time, I don't think that it would make me appreciate the show that much more, just because I don't know how much else it would have added to this show. But it feels weird when you don't have one.
Well, I like the way that this show is bringing in characters from other things and having them in one-off episodes, and I think Ahsoka would be perfect for that.
Yeah,
I think that Rex would be perfect for that too. But I do think that it would appeal to me a little bit more if he was more of a centralized character, maybe not a main character, but in either the last, a more impactful role in the last few episodes, or maybe kind of the role that Sid is filling now, where they're getting their missions from this person.
Yeah.
But anyway, working backwards to the cliffhanger appearance of this hologram shoulder that we get to see. So I did watch the episode twice. The first time that I thought that the obvious choice would be Ahsoka, because we already know that Trace and Rafa know Ahsoka, and like Ahsoka, would work for Ahsoka in an Empire regime. But I noticed in the subtitles, when they tell R7 to bring up the hologram, they do say him. So I think that it's a male character, and from what I can see on the hologram, it looks like Jedi robes. So I'm thinking either Obi-Wan, which I'm kind of saying just to tease it. I don't really think that it is the case, but I think it would be cool. Or Mace Windu.
He's dead though.
We didn't see him die. We saw him get thrown out of a window.
He had his hand cut off, and he was unlimited powered out of a skyscraper. He's gone.
Darth Maul came back with robot legs. All right, like dead is not dead in Star Wars. Boba Fett's back. Shand survives being shot with the blaster in her gut. Like, dead is not dead in Star Wars. I think it's Mace Windu.
That's a why. I mean, I would love to be wrong.
Yeah.
I do agree. I didn't know it was a him, but the cloak is what threw me off. That's why I didn't really think it was Rex. Is because you do see it's obviously a cloak. And it's not Caleb Doom, because he's too young
on
a role like that, right? So I almost wish they didn't put him in the beginning because it's like it was a nice little Easter egg, but now you're kind of, is he coming around? Is he not? It's like,
Yeah.
you
It was a
almost kind
good
of wonder.
dramatic scene though. They did good with it, but
Oh,
I do want a little bit more now.
it was a great scene, yeah, but it's almost like you should have followed up with that if you're going to put him in there. I don't know. They had to have somebody for the Order 66, and it was at least a cool little Easter egg for Rebels fans, if that's all.
Right. Right.
Hey, Sweetie, that
Well,
is a
speaking of Rebels, I have a little bit of a question for you that might have to do with this scene. When they, and I've only seen like the first like I think 9 or 10 episodes of Fulcrum, so or of Fulcrum of Rebels. So, but I want to talk about Fulcrum because he/she has been name dropped. I know that it's Ahsoka. I haven't seen her yet, but when she's going by Fulcrum, does she go by he? Does she mask her gender?
I don't remember.
I can't remember
It's been a
either.
long time since I saw Rebels, and
Okay.
I do not remember.
All right. Well, I'm thinking about getting back on the wagon with Rebels, and if I do, I'll pay closer attention.
You should, because I do think it's a good show. I mean, it's there's points where it's a little slow, but I think it helps that you don't have to wait a week to watch each episode. You can just kind of binge through it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think now because I want to say yes. I want to say they were a bit more ambiguous with he or she.
Yeah.
I don't want to say because I sounded really confident earlier when I said Corellia was. And I was completely wrong. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't know.
We'll have to find out. But it's at least I like that they have another little bit of a mystery for us to speculate on. Another cool character to look forward to. That's one thing that I have liked is we have gotten some new characters. Obviously, Omega, even someone like Sid, this mystery person. We're getting some Empire people as well, at least here and there earlier on. We've had some familiar faces like Saw Gerrera, Tarkin.
It could be Saw. Now that I'm thinking, it could be Saw that they were. That could be their contact, I guess.
That was another person I kind of thought at first, but forgot about. I was like, oh, I wonder if this is Saw, but the clothes what threw me off.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, and it was also just because it's Rafa and Trace, and we only know them from Ahsoka, so it's like it makes
right.
Sense. We'll see. Maybe it's Loki. Maybe it's a big tie-in for the. He really messed up the multiverse and popped up in Star Wars.
Of all the guesses, Loki was not on my list. Well, we're getting really excited for Loki. It's going to be our next episode, right? Loki comes out on Wednesday. Today's Sunday. I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
I am too, and I've only watched 1 or 2 trailers. I try not to watch too many teasers and trailers.
I've actually been staying away from the promotional material as well. I watched the newest trailer at work, but I didn't have my AirPods in, so I just read the subtitles. So I didn't really get the full experience, and I don't think I'm going to look into it any more than that. I'm just excited that the show is starting.
Same, yeah. I like going into stuff only having seen a bit of the trailer. I don't want too much given away or tease because you know how things are, right? Like they show something and then it's not. They edit it out. And it's like, well, wait a minute,
Yeah.
But I am very much looking forward to it. It's been, well, I guess it's been a little over a month since we've had Marvel content, and we were so spoiled for so long. The pandemic threw that off, but we're back with more MCU. They're saying that it's going to have some implications even for Doctor Strange's movie that comes out next year tw. So.
I mean, it ought to, right? Time travelers, yeah. Time
travel and presumably maybe even some multiverse traveling, maybe, who knows? So it'll be, I think it's gonna be really fun. I'm excited for it. Marvel can do no wrong in my eyes. So, and who doesn't want to watch more Tom Hiddleston? Come on.
Exactly.
So charismatic.
One of the big all-time favorites of the MCU for sure.
Sure. So we've got that next week. We will come back with an episode 7 review of Bad Batch. We're still toying with if we're going to do both in one episode or we're going to split them up, but we'll let you know when we figure it out. And I guess unless you have anything else, I think that's all I've got for this week.
That covered all my notes.
Okay, well, appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, we check out our social media in the show notes, Instagram, Twitter. We're on all the platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google, all of them. So yeah, give us a follow. You can leave us some reviews and all that stuff. It's great. Give us your
Yeah.
thoughts on the episode as well, too. What you thought and who you think our mystery person is going to end up being.
Yeah.
Not going to be Mace Windu.
It's gonna be Mace Windu.
If it's Mace Windu, I will Venmo you enough money to get you a pack of Mountain Dew.
Deal.
I will bet you 1 pack of Mountain Dew on.
All right, man. Well, it's been fun. We'll catch you later.
All right, keep on keeping on, folks.